I love the drone photography. I think the drone photography is pretty cool. Anything with drones, they're doing a lot of cool stuff with drones. So, but just
Yeah,
flying,
drone photography is tough, man.
I bet.
Flying
Yeah,
is tough. Taylor is a safe flyer. I'm the guy that likes to fly through stuff. So I've broken two DJI Mavic Pro 2s, and they're about, what are they, $2,200 a piece, and I broke two of them because I'm trying to fly through stuff. And yeah, so luckily, I mean, they're under warranty, so I just send them back to DJI, and then they they fix it for me. But yeah, the drone stuff's difficult. I don't find as much enjoyment of just kind of like flying around and not being dangerous, whereas Taylor kind of he enjoys that side. But
yeah. I bought a drone, and I like to live on the edge too myself. I paid $50 for my drone and flew it into a tree the first day.
Full send right there. I'm the same way, man.
I didn't even I literally put the batteries in it, hit the switch, turned it on, and just hit the joysticks. And then the second day, I lost it in the woods. So $50 drone, it's probably not the easiest to fly.
Yeah,
all the self-leveling devices and all that shit's probably real good on it. So
yeah, it's got no sensors like mine does. That's the thing, is like ours have sensors that tell you and will stop you from hitting something, but I turn mine off, which is probably why I crash it as much as I do.
it sounds like y'all got a lot going on.
Yeah, we definitely stay busy, that's for sure. And with everything going on in the world right now, you figure it would have slowed down for us, but actually did the opposite. I think a lot of people going online, having to do their businesses online and not, in their actual stores, gave them a lot of clarity on where the future is going, and it is in the media. So we've been picking up quite a bit since this whole Corona pandemic has been keeping everybody in their houses.
Yeah, no, yeah, everybody is moving to social media with something. I mean, we talked about people that perform at bars, music performers that do live shows at bars that move into Twitch, and more people working from home. A lot of things are going to go back to normal, but a lot of things are going to stay. I think definitely a lot more people will be working from home.
Oh yeah, I know.
I do too.
Certain fields and stuff. I mean, they're finding out now because of all this that their production level, since sending their employees to the house to work, are like through the roof. There's definitely a lot of careers that will probably continue holding that home work type deal. I mean, they could stop paying rent in most of their places.
Yeah.
A lot of benefits.
A building's overhead, right? So I mean, like we have our studio, but we have it in the basement of Taylor's house. And it's a large basement, bigger than anything we would get, in Wichita where we live, and we have no overhead because of that. If we went and got the same size studio in Wichita, we'd be looking at $4,000 a month, and companies, I think, are going to realize that. Well, if everybody can work from home, then why pay $5,000, $4,000 a month for this building and just work at home?
Exactly.
So apparently concerts are going to be. That's what I'm hearing, is concerts are going to be canceled till 2021. So everyone's going to probably be, streaming themselves.
Yeah, I've seen that the Grand Ole Opry was streaming a lot. I've seen that. Garth Brooks had posted something, but yeah, I mean, and people were being productive at home too. That's another thing, like people working from home are being productive, and they have their kids at home. So just think, like when their kids go back to school, how productive you can be and still not have to pay that cost. Like, why, just like you said, why put 50 people in a building and pay for that building when you can get the same production, if not more? Because people that like their jobs tend to work extra hours when they're at home, so if you have your computer and your office set up at the house, I mean, you might go eat dinner, check an email on your phone, and then you might get back to work on it right after you eat or something. There is no set amount of hours, so the time you spend working, it'll probably go up.
Yeah, Blake says in chat that he saw that some comedians were doing stand up with no audience, and it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
imagine.
like when you watch Big Bang Theory or something and you take the laugh track out. Like sometimes jokes are funny when you can laugh with people, you know? And then you got comedians that they're just talking to no one. There's no laughter. That's just weird. That's eerie.
Yeah.
I was thinking about live streaming some stand-up comedy, but just adding a laugh track, pressing a button whenever.
Everyone's gonna sit there wondering what's so funny. They're gonna be like, why is everyone else laughing?
Hold up. At least let me finish the joke.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, parents that are at home, like working with their kids at home as well. You know, like 77% of parents think teachers deserve a raise now.
Yeah.
Like having the
home Teacher Appreciation Week too, right?
Yeah.
This week.
Nice.
Yeah. Everybody's appreciating those teachers now, man.
Oh man, next year the gifts are going to be coming through the door like crazy. Man. You see memes like that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you know, these parents that you know how you see how parents are when summer ends, you know, and they're ready to get their kids back to school. Like, well, summer's about to start.
Oh yeah,
they still got a whole summer to go through, and they're still talking about possibly some states are saying that they don't know. I know it's on a college level. They don't know if they're going to even open in 2020. They're going to keep college online. Now, it's not guaranteed yet, but I mean, schools could follow. You know, high school and middle school and stuff, they could follow suit. Who knows? It's going to be crazy.
Shotgun Waffle in chat wants to know, what do y'all think of Nicolas Cage being cast as Tiger King?
I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it.
They're doing a movie?
Yeah.
It's like a scripted. It's a scripted series, but it can't be funny if Nicolas Cage is going to be in the star of it.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen every Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah.
It's painfully funny.
Yeah, painfully. I lost my appendix watching National Treasure. David Spade, man, that's who I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like a Joe Dirt type role. Yeah.
Yes, that would be perfect.
Or really, what I really wanted was Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Hart would have been insane. Just trying to play Joe Exotic. You know, the facial expressions he does and walking around tigers and shit. That would have been so funny to me. So
I've been wondering who they're going to cast. They're doing, I guess, a Hercules live action movie. I'm wondering who they're going to cast for those. That's our childhood right there, Greg's.
Yep.
I actually just got a phone call on that. So.
Oh God. The anti-Hercules.
Yeah.
No, but
Hercules before he gets made into a strong god.
Bizarro Hercules.
Yeah. Aftermath, Hercules aftermath. This is what it does.
I say we just let Kevin Hart have that one too.
Yeah. So, but you know, speaking of movies, I've seen that, you know, there's going to be like TSA style checkpoints in theaters now. They're talking about like in Texas and Oklahoma. Oh, wow. You stand in line, you have to do a survey about flu-like symptoms, and you walk through they made it seem like you walk through an infrared thermometer, but I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe like an ear scan or something. But so however the infrared thermometer comes back, if it's 100.4 or above, you have to go take a rectal thermometer reading. So,
really,
sign you up, right, Alex?
Yeah, the movie theater administrator, they do it for you, you know, so it's easy. Like you don't
just in front of everybody, right there, just like
yeah, dry stick too at that because they can't, you know, they can't afford no. But no, they are going to send you home
if you at a certain temperature too. That's what they need Alex for.
What is it?
I said they have to be stored at a certain temperature, so that's what they need you for.
But no, I'm joking about that part. But the infrared thing, if 100.4, they're going to send you home. So, I mean, things are changing. That's the gimmick. It's you pay at your own risk.
The infrared cameras are going to be the big thing going forward. I think everything's going to have, you know, infrared camera on the front of every building. They're going to know whether you have a fever or something before you even step foot in the building without even have to make contact with you. They'll just press a button and lock the doors down.
Can
Sounds like
drones
something
fly out?
Yeah.
The drones fly out and get you. Maybe those infrared cameras will be able to see these giant hornets, these basking bees.
They just zap them out of the sky.
Yeah. If them suckers make it to Florida, man, I need hazardous pay to go clear limits.
Hey, but we got people in Florida that will eat them. In Louisiana, they already talking about eating them. I seen a meme. Giant hornet ball.
Yeah.
Put some crawfish ball, put them in a pot. Let's go.
Oh, I thought you
When I was in
meant
Thailand, they
ball,
were eating
like
scorpions.
a gar ball or something.
No, like crawfish
fried
ball,
up
man.
with some breading with everything else.
Hey, that works too. So, but those things are like really detrimental to bees, man. That, you know, like bees are already a huge part of agriculture, and I know that's what people are really scared of. So,
Yeah.
hopefully they can be contained. And I think I've only seen them in Washington and Vancouver. I think I haven't really done too much research.
State, man.
Yeah.
Poor Washington State, just getting hit with everything.
It's like ground
That's where
zero
everything
for
starts.
every bad thing ever.
Just put a dome over Washington State, and
Lock all
we're
this
good.
shit down in one go.
Yeah, no corona anymore. No crazy hornet, friggin' flying scorpions, whatever. Just put a dome over Washington State.
So,
That's crazy.
everybody who bitches about everybody who bitches about the place they live, you know, somebody should just be there saying, well, it could be Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
Washington
Get that as a
is like
bumper
the
sticker
new-
on my car.
Yeah.
Washington's
Yeah.
like the new Mississippi.
So you think
Mississippi
the
used
place
to be like last in everything.
that's what Louisiana used to say. If it wasn't for Mississippi, we'd be last in everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got a question. So why the podcast? What brought you both to do the podcast? Because as soon as I seen that, you know, Greg sent me the episode, that was my thought. You know, with 1,000 million, however many podcasts, you know, going on, what made you guys decide to do one?
Just wanting to do a podcast and just thinking that we could do it better. You know, I mean, obviously not, you know, we were going to build up to it, but I don't know, man. I always wanted to do something. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I like to listen to them. I think a lot of people enjoy hearing other people talk about stuff going on in the world.
It's a new radio for sure. You know, like I definitely think a lot of people listen to podcasts. I think a higher percentage of people listen to podcasts than people would even realize.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can choose. You can choose what you want to hear. Like if you don't like us, then you can choose something else. And there's something for everybody. If you want to listen to true crime, you know, true crime's super popular in podcasting. If you want to hear about investing, if you want to learn anything, there's a podcasting for it. You know, when cryptocurrency was real big, there was a million podcasts about cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Just anything out there, there's a podcast. And then, you know, Joe Rogan, that guy has a huge podcast. He has all these guests on there that are really interesting to listen to, like, you know, Neil Tyson deGrasse, and he has all these people. I just think it would be cool to talk to people, you know. And
that's a good reason. You know, I think that's an amazing reason. The talking to people part, learning about people.
And then if we can involve a community into talking to people as well, you know, like if we get the chance to talk to somebody, that's great. But if we can take the community who follows us and watches it and involve them with talking to them, then, you know, that would be great as well. Because we're only asking the questions that we think of, and we want them to get to ask the questions they're thinking of as well.
Yeah, that's different from quite a few podcasts that I listen to. You never really get that part where the community's kind of involved. You know, I mean, Joe Rogan has some pretty amazing guests on there, and there's not any question time that I've seen from like viewers. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of guests that I would love to ask some questions to.
But I think he's one of the few people that are, you know, basically he's taking advantage of almost every outlet he can, except for maybe like a Twitch type outlet, just because he's gone away here recently from the live show, and just because of, you know, I mean, there's there's a lot of risk with going live. Maybe somebody's slipping up on what they're saying, or I mean, he's kind of putting himself at risk and also the guest. Whereas,
yeah, like Elon Musk, he got friggin' slandered for smoking weed on his show. Remember?
Yep. But I think there's just not many shows that are doing the audio podcast, the typical podcast. There's not many podcasts that are even doing YouTube anymore. And then to stack a live stream on top of that with incorporating people in the chat and everything. I think eventually we're going to try to get it set up so that we can live stream on multiple outlets as well. We'd like to get to where we're live streaming on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch. So I think we're just going to try to take advantage of as many outlets as we possibly can. And I like it I've always kind of wanted to do a podcast, but more than that, I like the production of it and everything. So
it's exciting. I'm seriously excited to see where all this goes for you guys. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, me too. But you're right, man. There is a huge risk doing it live like this. Like, of course, wherever we put it out, we can edit it and take things out, but you're always going to have, when you live, you have no idea what the person on the other end is going to say unless
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's definitely huge. And I guess you would just have to put a disclaimer out once you got to that point where you're bringing on risky people.
Well, I think the thing is you either bring on somebody smaller that you trust. You got to pretty much, if it's mid-range guests, then you probably stick with people that that aren't, enough to trust them on a live stream. And then after that, you just go for people that are too big to really be able to do that kind of stuff, without
they don't want to ruin their brand and stuff.
Risk. Yeah. And then you just got to bet on that.
But there are podcasts that do like recorded phone calls. You have a line that people call and then they play back the question. Somebody goes through the questions. They're just not live.
Right. Oh yeah.
But
it's
which
still not the same though. It's I don't know. It's just something about like having somebody ask while the show's going on. So like specifically while we're talking about a subject, they can ask Shane something that maybe we didn't think of. Whereas a lot of those pre-recorded deals are like, hey, we're gonna have so and so on next week on the show. Call in all of your questions that you'd like. I mean, you could pretty much Google those questions from that guest being on another podcast. That's not going to be anything out of the normal.
Sometimes the best responses are unscripted responses.
Exactly.
Like when you get asked the question live, it's like you don't have time to sit there and constantly think about it. So yeah, I think that's a good way to do it for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree 100%. I think and plus more people feel comfortable behind a keyboard than they do calling in.
Right.
If you could just type something real quick and send it in, I think you'll have more input.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. So, Shane, do you have any like events that I know right now events are pretty much non-existent, but like when events do start happening, say like 2021, the big concerts and the big music festivals, are you going to check them out with pictures, take pictures there and do stuff like Burning Man or?
I don't know if it'll be this year. Kind of sad if it won't. I got to figure it out. But like ACL, it's like such a good drive. It's like a 9-hour drive from Kansas through Oklahoma into Texas down to Austin city limits. So if I can do the Austin city limits music festival, if it goes this year, then I definitely will. And I'll definitely do a lot of pictures there. I do probably a bunch of lifestyle stuff. So I'll go with a bunch of friends and take pictures of them having fun, take some pictures of me having fun, do some video. Probably put together, I think last year I went, it was 3 or 4 day weekend. So put together, like a video of that weekend and give it to them. And sometimes it's nice to kind of just do the photography lifestyle wise and not, scripted or getting paid to do it, make it more of like kind of like a hobby again, because when you take something that's a passion and a hobby and you turn that into a business, it's amazing because you get to go to work and you get to love what you do every single day. But also there's that other side where, well, this was my hobby, and now everything's serious. Like people are basically putting limitations on my hobby because they want it this way, right? And maybe I want to do it this way, but they're paying me a considerable amount of money to do it their way. So my vision sometimes has to sit aside to that. So it's nice to do the hobby side as well. So I can just make whatever I envision, I can capture, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I guess I was thinking more like, and I know nothing about the business, so, but I was thinking more like, you go to Burning Man and you bring your camera and you just take pictures of the stuff going on, or ACL or wherever you go, and you sell these pictures to like, MTV or whatever, where you're selling your own product. I don't know if people do that or not.
So you can, and there's actually a lot of websites that you can place like your photos on, and companies will come in and they'll pay for the rights of those photos. Or most of the people that do that, when they go to concerts, it's for exposure. So if you tag a big artist, and then they want that picture, they put that picture out, and then that gets you exposure, and then maybe someone not as big will be like, hey, I want you to come on tour with me and take pictures. Like, I love the pictures you took of this individual, like, come on tour with me and do that full time. That's what most people do there. But you will have some that they'll reach out and be like, I want this picture, like, how much for it? I've taken a picture of somebody before, and like I love, like a 50 Shades of Grey style author messaged me on Instagram, and it was like, hey, I love this shot you did of this individual. I want to put it on a cover of my book. Like, how much for it? And now there's a photo of one of my friends floating around on some erotic book cover somewhere, And so that's why a lot of people do it too. They put it out there, and you never know who's going to see that and want that picture and pay for it. And they know when they're high enough up there, they know if they just steal your picture, that like they're probably going to lose all the money to their book, because even if you don't copyright it, it's still yours. You have the raw to that picture, so you can easily prove that you took it and they stole it.
That seems like it would be, to keep the most of your creativeness into it. That's the way that you would have to do it.
Yeah.
Or like definitely. You said, it's just somebody else telling you how they want a shot. And don't get me wrong, you still get to put your touches into it, but people.
And the part of the touches is really it's with the color grading that you do. Like kind of adding a moody feel to it, or light and bright, however you want to do it. It's definitely not fun when they control every aspect. And Taylor and I, when it comes to our company, making money is great, but at what expense? So there's companies that have come to us and they want us to do certain projects, and it's just like, that doesn't work for us. You're trying to control every aspect of this, and I can appreciate that. You have a certain vision, but we are not the people for that. For you, we do things this way. This is the way that we do it, and we want to come together. But if they're kind of assholes, I guess, about it, then we just walk away. Money is a great thing, but it's not the most important thing.
Well, I mean, especially in your line of work. I mean, it's all, it's an art. So, I mean, taking the artist out of the art is kind of pointless,
Yeah,
exactly. And that's the biggest thing, and that's one thing that we talk about a lot, especially when we like go into business meetings and you're trying to close that deal. One of our biggest things is taking somebody's idea and somebody's vision that they may not have that artistic side, they may not have that creativity, and we help them bring it to life. Like that to me is money. Like I said, money's great, but to me, that's what I get more from. I get more from that than however much they pay us, because it's exciting being able to take someone that's maybe just they're trapped. They're like, I don't know how to get this out, and then you do that, and then the look on their face when the final product comes in and it's better than they even thought in their mind. Like that's one of the main reasons that Taylor and I do what we do, for sure. And then the money is just a very good bonus.
Now, have you thought about trying to do any type of, I don't know if y'all branched into, I guess, the social media or like live streamers, for instance? Have y'all looked at doing any kind of work for YouTubers, Twitch streamers, stuff like that, do even if it's just intros and for their channels.
We've done some intros for some YouTube people, mainly friends.
Right.
They'll be like, hey, can you put this together, or little Instagram intros to something like that. I mean, it's definitely something we could do. Creating an intro, really just splicing a few clips together and using some Adobe After Effects is not that difficult. So we would definitely do it. It's not something that we really get hit up a lot about on the business side, but on the friend side, yeah, it's a good amount. Like, hey, can you build this 30-second video for me? Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, what footage do you have? Well, we don't have any footage yet. Like, you need to get that too. Yeah. Okay. So it's really not just 30 seconds.
I know there's a lot of streamers that aren't willing to set the time aside to actually teach themselves how to make their own YouTube videos and stuff, and they know that how much money they're leaving on the table, and growth that they're leaving on the table by not utilizing YouTube and everything. But they just have hours and hours of quality footage set aside, and nobody doing anything with it. So I don't know how much you would like to do that kind of stuff versus actually creating the material yourself, versus just piecing it together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty. It's some simple stuff. So I mean, like we could do that as long as you got the footage. I mean, that's taken. Right. I mean, half of the process away. It's faster, as long as you got that footage, we can piece it together.
Yeah.
Putting it together creatively is, the main thing that I think they would be looking for. So.
Right.